Hello and welcome to Anandron. So in this class, we'll continue with the problems faced by the small scale industries in India. So we finished the first 5 problems. So moving on to the 6th problem. The next major problem which they are facing is in the area of infrastructure. Okay. So they're facing inadequate supply of all the infrastructural facilities, especially when it comes to power. So there is inadequate availability of transportation, communication, and power. The most important being the power. Either they don't have power supply at all, or even if the power supply is available, it is very, very erratic. Okay, so that is a it has been found out that more than 50% of the small scale industries have been shut down because of inadequate power supply. So these are all the problems faced by the small scale industries. The reason being, one of the reasons being, most of the small scale industries advantage they can be established in the backward areas, in the rural areas, but in those rural areas always there is a shortage of infrastructure facilities there, isn't it? So that is severely affecting the small scale industries. So in those areas where these units operate, and these units, they mostly operate in the semi-urban areas or in the rural areas where the infrastructure facilities are not well developed. So this definitely adversely affecting their production. So this adversely affects their production. And the next is the project planning. So the meaning of project planning is before anyone starting a business, to study about the feasibility of the project, what kind of business wants to establish, what type of commodity or service is most in demand, and what are all the factors affecting that demand. So basically, whether the business will survive or not, from where to get the raw materials, what should be the cost of production, everything has to be planned properly, isn't it? But this kind of survey is not being done by a small scale producer, since he's not very well qualified or educated, unlike the professionals in the large scale units, and he cannot appoint a consultants to study the project feasibility. So since the survey is not being done, so it's not able to run the whatever the business the small scale producers are establishing. Over a period of time, they are losing their demand and they are not able to market their products also. So they are losing their demand and they have to shut down the business. Okay. So everything, right from acquiring the raw materials, what kind of technology, what sort of marketing operations, where they have to find the sales. So all this, everything has to be studied properly before the venture is being established. But all those surveys are not being done because the small scale producer is not having that much amount of awareness, or is not having that much amount of knowledge. So since the feasibility of the project is not being done properly, poor project planning results in the closure of many of the small scale industries. So that is the proper study regarding the viability of the project, meaning whether the business will survive or not, regarding the viability of a project, like the demand aspect, because the products are unique and people will not demand the same kind of commodity continuously. So the demand keeps changing. So the demand forecasting has to be done. So that is not, they don't have that much capacity to forecast the demand and the sources of raw materials. So large scale units, they have different sources of raw materials. So if one dealer is not supplying the raw material, another dealer will supply the raw material. So they don't face the problem of raw materials. But the small scale producer, they have only one or two sources of raw materials. So again, if the dealer is not supplying, they don't have any other alternative. The machine has to lie idle. We have seen, isn't it? Idle capacity. Marketing techniques. Etc. So all these are not studied properly or not undertaken by the small entrepreneurs. Okay. So finally, this results in poor project planning. Poor project planning and execution. They are not planned properly. They are not able to execute, operate properly. Okay. So that is the over a period of time, they lose their demand and they have to shut down. And the next problem is in the area of skilled manpower. See, they don't have, they are using the local manpower who might not be that much skilled. And all the skilled manpower in the rural area, they are all migrating to the urban areas. So they are not finding that much amount of skilled manpower in the wherever these units are established. So since the small scale unit utilizes the local entrepreneurial talent. So it is difficult to find skilled manpower. Going by the continue of the same problem, managerial competence. So there is no training there. Whatever the basic knowledge they are having, business is started with that basic knowledge. And because of that, the professional training is not there, professional qualification is not there, they are not able to compete with the large scale units who are hiring professional or qualified managers in their companies. So due to lack of training in managerial skills, most of the small scale units have become sick units. So based on the estimates, it has been found out that approximately 90% of the small scale units are falling under the category of sick industries. So approximately 90%. Okay. Then that leads to the next problem, sickness of small scale industries. So continuously, what is sick industry? Continuously, if a unit is running under losses, then they are categorized as a sick unit. So that's what is happening in the small scale industry. So a vast majority. So that's what we just mentioned, isn't it? 90% of small scale industries are running under losses continuously. Running under losses continuously. And fall under the category of sick units. So every problem or whatever the problem which we have seen, all those problems are resulting in small scale industry they turning into a sick unit. So as they are facing numerous, not just one problem, they are facing numerous problems like lack of finance, inadequate power supply, and inadequate raw material supply. Okay, so all this finally turning a small scale unit into a sick unit. Okay, so these are all the problems. So in my next class, I'll explain to you about the what are all the measures taken by the government. First, we have to check what the government has to do for the survival of the small scale unit, and what are all the measures actually taken by the government to make the small scale industries compete with the large scale industries. So measures to help the assist the small scale industries taken by the government, which I will explain to you in my next class. Okay, so if you find this video useful, please like, share, and subscribe. And also don't fail to mention your suggestions or doubts in the comment box. So until my next class, take care. Bye bye.